Reboot Intensive, and this is our second day video today, and we just want to actually talk a little bit about today something that I believe is foundational and fundamental to what it is that we need to actually get our lives right with. So one of the things that I want you to understand today is that your belief systems are what can make you, as the old saying goes, break you, make you or break you. And in many ways, one of the things that we actually deal with in terms of this is the fact that we don't realize what those belief systems are. We don't realize the things that are causing us to be who we are and act the way we act and react the way we react. And many of those belief systems are set up over many, many periods of time, from our childhood right through to young adulthood, even teenage years, where we've been impressioned or impacted by different people who have actually caused us to think certain ways. And of course, we have determined those things to be, and we've made those choices. And as a result, those systems, belief systems that we have in place now are the result ultimately of our choices to believe and continue to believe what it is that is beneficial, and sadly oftentimes not beneficial, even though we don't necessarily realize it, to our life and where we're at. There are many things that cause us to think this way, and it's something I wrote down here. I just want to read to you as well. It's in your workshop and worksheet notes. It's amazing to me as I walk through life the amount of people I see who have potential to do great things. But equally amazing is how often they do not fulfill their potential by the belief systems that they have entrenched in their thinking. That's just something that's a little quote from things that I've written down there in terms of belief systems. And it goes for all of us. All of us are on a journey as far as belief systems are concerned, how we believe and what we believe. So what I want to talk to you today, our Reboot Intensive. As you can see there, we're looking at a little PowerPoint there. And lesson one, of course, is belief systems. The things that actually get blockers to us, though, are things that would hinder us, I guess, from being the best possible person that we can be. The first one I've written down there is it's got a very basic one, really, and it's simply this: I can't be bothered. I can't be bothered doing something. It's we would determine it as, I guess, sheer laziness. The fact that we're actually just not really up for it, don't really care as much, don't have the desire, we're not driven, I guess, to do things. But part of the reason for I can't be bothered is because our purpose is not over the top of, or not more important than what it is to just sit and do nothing, or sit and do something else that's not as productive or helpful in any way, shape, or form. And I can't be bothered covers a lot of people in a lot of situations. And the reason oftentimes why I can't be bothered comes up as well is because I tried something before, it didn't work, so I just can't be bothered. I'm not going to bother doing it. So, to me today, as we look at this Reboot Intensive, day 2, as we look into the things that are important to you, and important to actually becoming the person that you're meant to be and be refreshed and revitalized for the time that is ahead of us, our belief systems need a reboot. Our belief systems need a refresh. Our belief systems sometimes need a clean out as well. And so it's important to me to actually spend this time with you, have a look at that. So the first one there is, I can't be bothered. The second one that we're looking at is, they don't know what they're talking about. This basically comes down to what I would determine as pride. People are very prideful about what it is. I know this, I know that, I know something else, I know better than they do, or they're younger than me, they're on me, but they don't know what I know. There's all sorts of, I guess, prejudices within that pride that comes up, which says that we sometimes don't accept the things that we should accept. We don't believe the things that we should believe because we know better, supposedly. The reality is that learning and, I guess, humility in that sense, in a very positive sense, is a great way for us to get better at what we do, and therefore become more successful and significant in what we do. So that's number 2 there. Number 3 is simply, I can't. You know what? We actually wrote this in our ebook called Bridging the Gap Volume 1. We've actually got several volumes that we'll be putting out. Volume 2 is just about ready to go, and we've already started on many great things that can actually go into the next volume as well. So, look out for that, or if you want to know more about that, please let us know. but the thing about I can't is that it says to us or it says to others that the ability for us to actually do something is not there. We say to ourselves, in essence, first of all, and we're actually telling ourselves on the inside, I can't afford this, I can't do this, I can't do that, I can't do the other. I can't becomes part of our vocabulary instead of, for example, at the moment I choose not to go down that path. Those kinds of words, or the fact that we're actually, well, we're actually using words that say I can, that I will. While I have my cup of tea. But also the various things that actually help us to be the best person we can be are all based around the things that we can do and will do and shall do, rather than can't. Can't is always a block. It's something that actually stops us from being who we're meant to be, and it's very sad, really, that happens. But it does. It happens, and we need to actually learn to be the kind of people that. In fact, we think of ourselves very, very differently as far as as far as how we live our life. Of course, I can't is a belief system that's as said from when you were a child, when you were young. Someone said, "Hey, Johnny, you can't do that. Hey, whoever, okay, you can't do that." And so I can't becomes a part of our vocabulary and part of the way we live our life. And it's a very sad one, because the reality is it actually stops us from being what we need to be. Another gap blocker in terms of our belief systems is fear. Fear is a huge one. It's a subject that we look at on its own over the annual course as well. But fear is something that actually holds us in its grip. It actually holds us tightly. It actually freezes us. It actually stops us in our tracks. And as a result of that, one of the things that we do is we live with that fear, and we walk with that fear, and we limit it. We actually have what we term as limiting beliefs because of that fear. For example, if someone has a fear of flying and they don't want to go flying, well, the fact is they'll never fly in a plane. They'll never get the opportunity to do that simply because they have a fear of it, even though they haven't been up in the air, or if they've been up in the air and had one bad experience, they don't want to continue to do it. So reality is this: that fear actually freezes us, holds us back, causes us to be not what we're meant to be, and fear will stop us, it will block us from actually being the best person we possibly can be. The fear of actually doing something that's different, the fear of the unknown is a huge thing. The fear of, and we talk about fear of failure, the fear of rejection, all those kinds of fears are things that block us, and they are belief systems that we actually have in place already right now. Have a think right now. And I want you to do this at the end of this video, and as you look at the worksheet as well. Have a think really about the things that you're fearful of, the phobias that you have about various things, the things that are stopping you, in essence, from being the best person you possibly can be. Huge, huge amounts of fear. So please think about that, and take your time and maybe write some notes about that are going to help you to get beyond that. The next one we've got in line is unforgiveness and bitterness. Unforgiveness is, of course, a terrible thing, and bitterness is an awful thing. Both of them, I guess, will lead to the other. Unforgiveness leads to bitterness, really. But I put them together there because oftentimes people don't realize that just being an unforgiveness and what it can lead to. So what we're actually looking at today, when we look at unforgiveness and bitterness, one of the things that you're going to be helped with today is the fact that as you read this, you're going to think to yourself, is there anybody that I haven't forgiven? Is there anybody that I'm bitter against? Is there anything or any institution or something or someone that I am bitter against? They did me wrong. Those people did this. Those people did that. Have a think about those kinds of things. Have a think about that actually going to hold you back in what it is that you're meant to do. It's worthwhile just again to check up from the neck up, we say. In this case, to check up from the heart up, if you like, about the things that are stopping us. It's a real blocker actually fulfilling our potential, because the reality is this: that unforgiveness and bitterness leads to mistrust and various other things that go with that. And when we have mistrust with people, We put walls up, and when we have walls up, we actually stop not only the people from getting in, but we also stop from anything from getting out of us as well, and us getting out to love and to care and to be in connection, and be in good connection, full connection. This is where the fullness of connection is disturbed, is blocked, and we need to actually open that up and allow that to be a gap bridger where we forgive and we let things go. That's a huge thing. Have a think about that. If you're a Christian watching this, maybe have a pray about it. Certainly have some very deep thought about this kind of thing as well. The next one we're going to look at is enough. That's actually one of the most dangerous ones in terms of our belief systems. It's believing that having just enough or having not enough is actually some sort of way of living life that's very much the way that we should live life. And I grew up in a home which was a wonderful home, a beautiful home, but there was a belief in my home that if you didn't have enough, it was some kind of way of living life that made you more pure, made you a better person by living in poverty. And it was a kind of a very different. The best that my home got to was just having enough, and that was like, well, I don't want any more than enough, because I want everyone to share in it all and everything else, and me just having enough is enough for me, enough for me and my three, so to speak. The reality is this: that just having enough is really not really what we need to be, and not really what we need to have. We need to actually have more than enough. There's a great story in the Bible. People of Israel were taken out of Egypt, and some of you watching this will know this story. But when they got taken out of Egypt, they were in a land of what I would determine and what I would say was not enough, because they didn't have enough to eat, didn't have enough to drink, whatever. They got out into the wilderness and eventually got to a point, because they were complaining there too, because they'd been taken away from this land of not enough into a land of enough. And the story goes that God provided them specific materials, what was called manna, what was called quail and so forth and so on. And God provided that every day. So it got to a point where they had enough every single day for them and their families to eat, and enough to get by with. And so they actually got so comfortable with it. And eventually what happened was, when they got to the place where they were going to go, there was a place called the land of Canaan. There was a land that was flowing with milk and honey. The grapes were as big as, like that. The various things that were growing there, the things that were in there, it was a land of just plenty, a land of more than enough. And you know what? They decided, despite the fact that this was a land of more than enough, that everything that was in it and all the challenges that were there were too much. We can't do this. And so what they did was they wandered around and continued to wander around until that generation of thinking that they had enough and that they were happy with enough died out, and the younger people said, we want to get into that place, and they were hungry and wanted more than enough. The reason why I want and why you should want more than enough is not for you so much as it's more than enough for you and others that you can actually help and be a blessing to. And getting that mentality out of your head, getting that belief system out of your head and out of your heart that says, you know what, I just want enough for me. That's not really what God wants for us. I believe as a Christian that's certainly not what God wants for us. I believe as a person, as a human being, that there is so much more for us to be and so much more for us to do. So we need to get on enough into the, which is this final one that we're going to look at today. The I ams. All through this, we talked about I can't, the various things. All those things cause us to say certain things about ourselves. I am not worthy. I am not good enough. I am not the best at this. I'm not going to be the best at this. And there are certain things, of course, we know that we're talented at certain things that we're not talented at, and that's okay. All of those things. But within the scope of who we are and what we're called to be and purpose and all that sort of stuff, and we'll be looking a lot more at that kind of thing as well, and you'll see it online through Bridging Gap Community as much as you will in some of our other courses and things that we look at as well. But looking at that purpose and everything else, we need to actually start talking about ourselves differently. We need to start saying, I am worthy. I am a great person. I am talented at such and such. I do have the ability to do. I will step up and be faithful and faith-filled. I will step up and be someone who loves. I am a person who loves. I am a person who cares. I am a person who, and so forth. And so one of the things that we want you to do as part of this, and you'll see this in your notes, and I'm saying this to you now as well, is I want you to write out at least 20 different things that you are in a positive, uplifting fashion, and then speak about them in the morning and speak about them at night. I am able to do this. I am, it's no longer I can't, it's I can. It's no longer I won't, I will. It's no longer I don't do, and so forth and so on. I think you get the gist of what I'm trying to say. But it's certainly a gap when we talk about ourselves as I'm not able to do this, I do this and I can't do that. All those things stop us from being the best person that we possibly can be. So, again, when you get your worksheet, you'll see that all the information is written on the worksheet. And at the bottom is a little section there, just a little reminder so that you can actually write down those I ams. And you'll need to feed back to me about what those I ams are and let me know. And then you start using them morning and night. During the day if you want to as well, but certainly morning and night. In the morning as you get up and the night as you go to bed, confessing, if you like, declaring those things that are important to your future, and in the times and everything else. So that's it for our REBOOT intensive on belief systems today. I look forward to chatting with you and hearing your feedback from stuff. So listen, have a fantastic rest of the day. Sandy signing off from our REBOOT.